Hey everybody, I'm back with another video. I wanted today to share my Elvis book collection with you. Most of these books are signed because I met most of these people. I have a lot of them, so bear with me. This might be a little long video, but along the way I'll tell you like when I met them, maybe all the times I met them, and put some pictures up so you can see. Sadly, a lot of these people have left us and they're no longer here. They passed away. We're losing a lot of people in the Elvis world, unfortunately, but people get older and that happens. So I feel very fortunate and blessed that I was able to meet these people when I did. And it's filled with wonderful memories. It was very exciting to meet a lot of these people because I'll never be able to meet Elvis, so meeting people that were close to him was very special to me. I just want to say that I know that people have certain feelings about certain people in Elvis's life, and I just ask that you be respectful if you make comments and not be negative about it, because I don't feel that way about any of these people. I believe that each person that was in Elvis's life played a part in his life, and there was a reason that he had them in his life, and he loved all of them at one point. So I have no animosity toward any of these people. I don't know what it was like to be them or be around them. I would never walked in their shoes, like Elvis says, walk a mile in my shoes. So I don't know. I don't know the story. I don't know what happened. So who am I to judge? But all I ask is that if there's somebody that you don't like and you disagree with, please just try to be respectful, and just know that I'm glad that I got to meet all these people, because they at one point were special in Elvis's life and he had them around for a reason. So that being said, I'm going to get started. So I have 2 books by Joe Esposito, and I met Joe. This is a great book, by the way. I've had this for years, and I met Joe quite a few times. Joe was a great guy. He was really nice, always polite and kind, and this one's signed by him. But yeah, like I said, I've had this for years. And then this one was another book he came out with. It has rare pictures in it of Elvis. It's really cool. Of Joe and Elvis, and him in the movies, and just all kinds of great pictures. There's pictures of Elvis and Priscilla in here. Let me see if I can find some. Like of the day of his wedding, which is really cool because Joe, of course, was his best man. And from the honeymoon house, the night before their honeymoon. And he signed this one for me too. And of course, Joe is one of the ones that sadly passed away not too long ago. So I'm very thankful I got to meet him so many times. Next one is George Klein's book. George Klein passed away a couple years ago, maybe a year ago, I think. It was really upsetting when he died, because he was such a big part of the Elvis world. Whenever you went to Memphis, you always knew that Elvis, George would be around, because he did the radio show there on Sirius Elvis Radio, and you could always find him around the radio station and shake his hand and talk to him and get his autograph, and it was just awesome. You always knew you were going to see George, so when he died it was really sad. But I met George so many times. Got to talk to him and just see him in passing. And he signed it for me. So again, so thankful that I got to meet George and have so many special moments with him. Next one. This might be somebody that might be controversial to people, but I don't care because I love this guy. The reason I say that is because I met him quite a few times. Sonny West. Anytime I met him, he was so gracious and nice and kind. He always took time to take a picture, sign something for you. I had great conversations with him. And no matter what people think about him, I believe in my heart that he loved Elvis. And at one time, Elvis loved him. So yeah. So this is Sonny, one of Sonny West's books that he wrote. And of course, we know Sonny's not with us anymore either. And he signed it for me. So yeah. Very fortunate and glad I had so many great moments with Sonny. Next is Jerry Schilling. Jerry Schilling's book. I've met Jerry quite a few times too. He's a pretty cool guy. He's one of the ones that is left of the Memphis Mafia. He signed it for me. He was probably because he was one of the younger guys in the group. So yeah, that's Jerry Schilling's book. And if you want to know if I've read all these books, yes, I have. Of course, no surprise, Elvis is my favorite subject to read about. He's just such an interesting guy, led such an interesting life, and I mean, I just love him, so I love reading about him. So this is Larry Geller's book. Larry Geller was Elvis's hairdresser, and people say that he was his spiritual guru, I guess you could say. And it's signed. And Larry Geller is quite a guy. He always speaks very highly of Elvis, and he always has the greatest stories about him. So yeah, Larry Geller, there's a picture of him on the back. Next one. I've met quite a few of Elvis's girlfriends, ex-girlfriends, and it took me a while, but I finally got to meet Linda Thompson. And it was a thrill to meet her. She's a wonderful lady, and this is her book. Many of you might know about it. It's a great book. It's about her life, not just with Elvis, but with Bruce Jenner / Caitlyn Jenner now. And she signed it for me. But yeah, this was a great day when I met her. It was so exciting. And then Anita Wood. She is a great lady. Great lady. Great Southern, down-to-earth lady. It was so great talking to her. I got to have a whole conversation with her about Elvis. And it was wonderful. And she signed it for me. And her daughter, who I guess was part of doing this book, signed it for me too. This is the gospel side of Elvis. This is by Joe Mascao. Joe Mascao was one of the Imperials. He's no longer with us either. But he signed it for me. This is basically, if you've seen the gospel series was on VHS a long time ago about Elvis's gospel side. This is basically a book of like the same subject. Elvis's gospel music and his love of gospel music and his spiritual side. It's a good book. Let's see, what do I want to show you next? Okay, some of these books are, oh, well here, this is J.D. Sumner and the Stamps. They wrote this book. This is just a book of like little stories of their time with Elvis. And Ed Hill and Donnie Sumner both signed it for me. That's Donnie Sumner and that's Ed Hill. Ed Hill just recently died as well. They were both members of the Stamps. This is a great book. It is by Elizabeth and Rex Mansfield. Rex was in the army with Elvis, and Elizabeth was Elvis's secretary while he was in Germany, and they were both friends with Elvis, obviously, and they ended up falling in love and running off and getting married, and this is their whole story of their time with Elvis. They're great people. Rex just died last year, which is really sad. Or I think it was a couple of years ago he died, and it was right after Elvis Week, right after I had met him again. But this is one of his books, and they both signed it for me. And this is a really good book. It's a really good read. It's like one of those stories that's less known, and it's great. So if you can get a hold of this book, I recommend it because it's great. Okay, so this was one of Elvis's nurses, Marion Cock. Yes, that is her name, folks. And that's what she looks like. It's called I Called Him Babe. And she signed it for me. So that's that one. This is a book by Nancy Rooks, who was one of Elvis's maids. She's still alive, and I'm actually friends with her. My friend Judy, she's actually a lot closer with her. She's actually stayed with her at her house and stuff, but I know Nancy too, and I'm fortunate whenever I see her to, catch up with her and say hi. And she signed it for me. She was actually there the day that Elvis died, so that's interesting. This is a good read too. So these ones that I'm about to show you are like fan books, like fans that were around Elvis a lot and knew him. These are by a lady named Donna Lewis. There's actually 3 volumes of this. I only have the 2 because the other one, the third one, is really hard to get. But I'm glad I got the 2. But these are just, look at this great picture of Elvis on the back. She took this picture. But these are great because these are like memoirs of her diaries. She kept diaries of all of her times that she met Elvis and was around Elvis, and this is that's what these are. And then she signed it for me. She's a great lady. I see her every year. It's called Hurry Home Elvis. So yeah, these are great. If you can get a hold of these, I recommend these. But like I said, the third one is really hard to find. It actually goes for a lot of money, believe it or not. This one's really special to me because she was also a fan that was around Elvis a lot, and she had so many great stories meeting Elvis, and obviously that's her kissing Elvis there. But this is Sandy Pigeon, and she was a dear friend of mine. I loved her. There's another picture of her in the back giving something to Elvis. But she was a very dear picture. I'm sorry. I'll put a picture of her up me and her up so that she can see, but she was a very dear friend of mine, and she died a few years ago. I miss her deeply because she was always fun to be around and talk to. But this is a great book if you can get it. I recommend it. And she wrote a nice message to me on the back. So I treasure this one. And then this is another fan book of a lady named Shirley Connell. And she had many wonderful experiences with Elvis too. That's a picture of her and Elvis on the back. She had great experiences with Elvis. She got to go up into Elvis's bedroom even, so, and she signed it for me. If you can get this book, I recommend it. This has got some great, awesome stories. She actually lived in a house in the back of Graceland, right behind Elvis, so this is fabulous. This is really awesome. This lady is amazing. Her name is Judy Palmer. She's a great lady. There's actually videos on YouTube of her being interviewed, and she talks about her time with Elvis. She had so many great experiences. She went to Memphis several times, and she rented an apartment so she could be close to Elvis. She was there the day Lisa Marie came home. She was at the 68 comeback special. She had so many great experiences, and she took some great pictures of Elvis in concert. Like, here's one of the pictures that she took of Elvis. So this is just a great, great book. Like, all these great pictures that she took of Elvis coming out of the gates. And that's a picture of her. I'll also put a picture of her and me up. Like I said, she's a great lady. I'm actually friends with her. We keep in contact on Facebook, which is cool. She took this picture this picture was taken with her camera of Elvis and Priscilla. There's a cool story to it. Let's see. Let me see. Let me get like a good picture. Like, there's a picture she took of him signing autographs coming out of the gates. It's just it's a great, great, great book if you can get it. I think this is hard to get too, but it's great. All of her stories, and then all of her photos that she took of Elvis in concert. So if you can get this, I recommend it, folks. It's great. So let's see. These are just a few little cool things I have. Most of you know that Elvis was good friends with Nick Adams. He was an actor. He was in Rebel Without a Cause, and they were really good friends. It's a picture of him and Elvis on his bike. And this is a book by his daughter. She wrote a book about him and Elvis and their time together. And she came to Memphis one year and talked about it. And I'm pretty sure she signed it for me. Yep. There it is. Picture of him and Elvis. And she signed it for me. So that's pretty cool. It's a pretty good book about him and Elvis. This is just like a little pamphlet kind of thing that I got. It's got some great pictures in it. But I love this picture of George Klein and Elvis at George Klein's wedding. Actually, George, look, I just realized George signed this for me. That's great. And also the reason I got this is because I think this was from Dean Nicopolis, who was Dr. Nick's son. And I actually have Dr. Nick's book. I never got Dr. Nick to sign this, unfortunately, but I did meet Dr. Nick, and I do have his autograph. So I'll put a picture of Dr. Nick up for y'all to see. And then this was Dr. Nick's son, Dean Nicopolis, and he was a bodyguard for Elvis. And he actually signed that for me. That's like his ID that he had when he was working for Elvis. So this is pretty cool that I got this. This is really cool. One year, the cast of Tickle Me came for Elvis Week. So this is a really cool book of the movie Tickle Me. And I got 3 people to sign this from the movie. I'll show you. So this is Francine York, who was in the movie with Elvis. She signed it for me. Forgive me, the thing that just, my marker that just fell out. This is Ed Faulkner. He was in the movie with Elvis. He signed it for me. And then last but not least is Julie Adams. I met her twice. She plays Elvis's boss in the movie. Interesting enough, she was in quite a few shows, like Alfred Hitchcock I've seen her in, and I've seen her in lots of stuff. And it's so cool when I see her. I'm like, oh my God, I met her. So that's really cool. And then, oh, I gotta show you this. I'm actually gonna do a whole video on this, reviewing this book. This is an amazing book. The author her name is Sally Hodel, and she just wrote this book. It's called Destined to Die Young. It's about the real reason Elvis died and the real reason he died young, and all of the things that inflicted him and his health issues and his heritage. This is an amazing book. If you're an Elvis fan, I highly recommend you get this. Like I said, I will do a review on this. I've actually talked to Sally, and she sent me this and she signed it for me. So that's really cool. Get this book if you're an Elvis fan. It is so good. There's stuff in here that I didn't even know. And then I'll show you some of the books that I have that I have not got signed yet. Of course, I have the infamous Elvis What Happened. I know people don't like this book, but my friend got it for me because it was a first edition. You can see it's falling apart. So I got that. I don't have it signed. I'm not going to get it signed, obviously. And then I have this book by Alana Nash, The Memphis Mafia. I actually might get this signed by Billy Smith, because I see him just about every year. So I think I'm going to have him sign this because he's part of this book. He's in a lot of this book. And then this is a book by Dee Presley and Billy, Rick, and David Stanley. And I think I might actually get this book signed by Billy Stanley because I see him a lot every year too. So those pictures of them. And of course I have The Last Train to Memphis. And the author of this, Peter Guralnick, he's been at Memphis a lot, but I never brought my book to get it signed. But this is, I guess this is considered the like Bible of Elvis biographies, and there's a second edition to it that I don't have, but it's a great read. And then I have this one by Donna Presley. I haven't really actually read this whole thing, but I probably will, and I could get this signed too because I know that she's in Memphis a lot too, so it seems like it would be a good book. And then last but not least, I'm going to show you this book. Again, please try not to be negative, people, because I know everybody has opinions about a lot of these people. But this is Ginger Alden's book. And this is a great read. I just read it again because this year for Elvis Week, she will be there, and she's doing like a sit-down conversation interview kind of thing. And so I read this again just so that it could be fresh in my mind, and hopefully I'll get it signed by her when I go to this, because I think she's doing a meet and greet. But this is a great read, guys. But yeah, I just wanted to share. I know it's a long video, but I just wanted to share all my my Elvis books with you, and share some of the people that I've met. Maybe show you some pictures. So hopefully you enjoyed this. So until the next video, thanks again for watching. Bye for now.